Download now.
Hello and welcome to News 9. I'm Varghese Abraham. Let's get to the top story of the day. A severe cyclonic storm Michaung made landfall across South Andhra Pradesh coast on Tuesday. The storm's maximum fury was felt in Chennai and adjoining areas in Tamil Nadu as well as the coastal districts of Andhra Pradesh. Southern districts of Odisha and eastern Telangana continue to be on alert. At least 12 people have lost their lives in various rain-related incidents in and around Chennai, even as personnel on fishing boats and farm tractors were engaged in rescuing stranded people in the city. The city and its adjoining district faced relentless rains from Monday onwards as Michaung loomed over the north coastal areas of Tamil Nadu. The storm has weakened into a deep depression over the central coastal Andhra Pradesh area. The system is likely to bring rainfall to several states as it moves towards northwards. Now, the weather forecasting agencies have suggested that isolated heavy rainfall is likely over north coastal Andhra Pradesh on December 6th. Heavy rainfall is likely in Telangana and isolated heavy rainfall over South Chhattisgarh, South Coastal and adjoining south interior areas of Odisha. These are the latest visuals coming in from the flooding that has happened in Chennai. We can see the kind of devastation, in fact, leaves. Most of the places have knee-deep water. Several residential areas have been completely inundated because of the flooding. The heavy rains is said to be one of the highest after the big deluge that is there. Many of them taking their pets and trying to, in fact, move from the location. As you can see over here on the visuals, where a dog was, in fact, rescued and put inside a bucket and being taken away by the residents from area that has been completely inundated. These are the visuals coming in from Chennai, especially on the day of the rescue. Several underpasses and areas next to the metro stations have also been completely inundated. These visuals, in fact, show the nature of flooding in the area. Houses as well as areas inside the low-lying areas of Chennai have been completely inundated. Bus stands have also been inundated and several vehicles have been stranded because of the flooding that has occurred. Holidays have been declared in Chennai and for schools and colleges as well inside Chennai. The NDRF and SDRF teams are also at the location trying to lend a helping hand. Many of the apartment complexes have reported that their parking basements have also been filled with water, resulting in them trying to pump the water out. Pumps have also been sent in by the Chennai Corporation to ensure that the waters from these apartment blocks are pumped out. But the biggest difficulty that a lot of them say is that they don't have a place to pump the water out to, and that is one of the situations that they are looking at. They're hoping that the natural drains would in the coming hours help the water to be drained away from the city. Meanwhile, reports are coming in that there are several hospitals that have also been inundated in the Chennai area because of the flooding. These are in fact small hospitals that were located in some of the low-lying areas, and the patients have been moved to some higher ground as well. Meanwhile, reports are coming in that SDRF as well as NDRF personnel have been deployed across the city and its adjoining areas to go ahead and ensure that they would get the people on board as such. So this is one of the situations that we see. As you can see, the cars have been completely inundated over here, and they are also finding it difficult to get the vehicles out. Many of them were in fact parked next to the owners' homes that were completely inundated because of the heavy rains in the area. Meanwhile, efforts are also on to trace people who had not been able to return home. Many of them have been able to return home because of the inundation from their office spaces as well. Food is also being distributed. Food, milk is also being distributed in areas that have been affected. There are large crowds that have been seen at those locations as well. So this is the kind of situation that is there in Chennai and its surrounding areas as well because of the flood that has in fact taken over the city completely. Well, these are the visuals coming in from the central areas of Chennai, where water has in fact gone ahead and accumulated across the city center areas, and you can see the kind of accumulation of the water that is there. One of the things that have in fact come to light is that the bus depots have also been completely inundated, and several buses, especially from the state transport department, were seen abandoned in the middle of that area.
The following content may contain visuals that are disturbing, graphic, or sensitive in nature. Viewer discretion is advised. This material is intended for mature audiences and may not be suitable for all viewers. Please exercise caution while watching, and if you find such content distressing, we recommend discontinuing viewing. This disclaimer is provided to ensure awareness and to prioritize viewer well-being.
Well, the war between Israel and Hamas has now entered the 61st day. Let's get you the latest update from the war front. Fighting has intensified in the central and southern areas of Gaza. Israel will turn Gaza into a demilitarized zone after the war. Israel's military will maintain indefinite presence in Gaza post-war. This is what Netanyahu has said. No further negotiations on hostage releases until Israel halts offensive on Gaza, is what Hamas has said. Biden urges global condemnation of sexual violence by Hamas. At least 16,248 people, including 7,112 children, have been killed in the war. Catastrophic hunger crisis has intensified in Gaza. World War Food Program has also said that there is an intense hunger strike that could in fact take the toll in Gaza. IDF has issued apologies, meanwhile, for the death of a Lebanese soldier in cross-border fire. Displaced and distraught Gazans, meanwhile, are in fact finding it difficult when it comes to the border crossing. This is the kind of situation that is there on the 61st day of the war in Gaza. Well, displaced and distraught Gazans in Khan Yunis were even seen leaving the southern city on Tuesday, heading south to Rafah to seek shelter from Israeli attacks. Israel had ordered people out of swaths of the south, including parts of Khan Yunis, on December 4th. However, as the IDF resumed its offensive, Gazans say there is nowhere safe to go. Many Gazans have been displaced for second or third time since the war began on October 7th. A World Health Organization official in Gaza said on Tuesday that the situation was deteriorating by the hour as Israeli bombing has intensified in the south of the Palestinian enclave.
We are getting ready to leave Khan Yunis heading to Rafah. We have been here for about 50 days. At the end of the day, civilian residents seek safety, and you have children and old people. There is no safe place. Even official authorities or official sites in the war have said there is no safe place in the Gaza Strip. But at the end, we head to wherever we think there might be a bit of safety.
Well, this is the deteriorating situation that is seen as the campaign has intensified in south of the Palestinian enclave. The Gazan Health Ministry claims that at least 43 people have been killed in Khan Yunis since December 5th following Israeli strikes due to the hospitals are on the brink of collapse. Now, Gazan's Health Ministry spokesperson Ashraf Al-Qudra further claimed dozens more are still under the rubble or lying in the streets. He was quoted by Reuters as saying wounded and patients are on the floor. There is no life-saving health services in the hospitals of southern Gaza Strip. Hence, hospitals in the southern Gaza Strip are totally collapsed. They cannot deal with the quantity and quality of injuries that have arrived to the hospitals. We are talking about 43 martyrs arriving in Nasser Hospital. These are the ones that people and ambulances are able to uncover from different places. Doctors have to treat severely injured patients, many of whom were children. A World Health Organization official in Gaza said that the situation was deteriorating by the hour as Israeli bombing had intensified in the south. A Palestinian rocket hit a residential building in the Israeli city of Ashkelon on December 5th. The Israel ambulance service said that 2 women over the age of 60 suffered minor injuries in the attack. Hamas terrorists continued to fire barrages of rockets into Israel as Israeli forces launched counter-offensive in southern Gaza Strip on Tuesday. In what is being called as the biggest ground assault since the truce collapsed last week, Gaza residents said that Israeli tanks had entered the eastern parts of Khan Yunis for the first time. The Israeli army on Tuesday released footage showing various aerial attacks against Hamas as the Israeli forces intensify their air and ground bombardment in the Gaza Strip. The aerial footage showed airstrikes of what the Israeli army claimed was Hamas's infrastructure, including a tunnel shaft and command centers. Israeli troops were also seen on the ground in Gaza as well as strikes from the Israeli Navy. The Israeli military fired artilleries at Gaza from positions on the border in southern Israel as their forces launched an operation to the southern Gaza Strip. Now, the Israelis also seized the northern half of Gaza last month before pausing for the week-long truce, saying they are now extending their ground campaign to the rest of the enclave to fulfill their objective of annihilating the Hamas rulers. In what appeared to be the biggest ground assault since truce collapsed last week, residents said that Israeli tanks had entered the eastern parts of Khan Yunis for the first time, crossing from the Israeli border fence and advancing west. Israel expects difficult fighting in the new phase of its war in Gaza, but is open to constructive feedback on reducing harm to civilians as long as the advice is consistent with its aim of destroying Hamas, a government spokesman said on Tuesday. 17 Thai nationals who had been held hostage by the militant Islamist group Hamas in Gaza arrived in Bangkok. The group is among 23 Thai hostages who have so far been released from Gaza. 9 remain in captivity. Take a look at this report.
This little girl and her grandmother have just had the best news. The girl's father was one of the 10 Thai hostages recently released by Hamas. This house is why he was in Israel. He paid for it with money he earned there.
The house was almost finished. Everything was paid for. And my husband was installing the bathroom when we got the news our son had been abducted. So we stopped everything until now.
Vitawa Gonlawong returned just a few days after the attack. He's home and he's safe, but can't sleep without pills. He was working in a poultry farm near Gaza on October 7th. A Hamas terrorist attacked him.
He stabbed me several times and cut me in the head.
And then I grabbed the knife and broke it. We kept fighting for a long time until I lost consciousness.
Now he's recovering back on the family farm. Despite his injuries, he says working in Israel was worth the risk. He earned about €1,000 a month there, 4 times the Thai minimum wage. The pull that kind of money exerts is clear here at the Udon Thani Labour Department. Many of these people are applying to work abroad. Numbers are down a little, but are expected to pick up soon. Around 3,000 locals are still working in Israel.
The salary they get abroad is so high. Even if people have higher education, many will still choose to work abroad and work on farms.
This woman's eldest son was one of those working on an Israeli farm. He was killed in the Hamas attack. His younger brothers are also working abroad in Taiwan, sending money back to the family.
I don't want to send any of my children abroad, but we have no choice. We're a poor farming family here, and if they want to go, I won't stop them.
Despite his experience in Israel, Witawa Gonlawung is thinking about going abroad again for work. He started building a house, but has no more money and no job here. He'll likely leave again for work, but says next time he'll go somewhere else.
Well, Congress was in for an embarrassment after announcing the INDIA meeting on December 6th, with several opposition functionaries asking as to why the party has sprung into action on the alliance front, just after losing the elections in the 3 states and remaining silent for the last 3 months, despite many of them asking for a meeting of the alliance. Trinamool Congress Chief Mamata Banerjee and Samajwadi Party Chief Akhilesh made it clear that they cannot attend the Wednesday meeting, which was cancelled without consulting them on their availability. Now, the Congress has done the damage control and is saying that they will organize the meeting based on the convenience of the leaders in the 3rd week of December. Meanwhile, the current meeting that has been called by the India Alliance, or the India Bloc as it is said, has in fact decided to use the 6th of December meeting as a parliamentary floor leaders meet. There is a huge suspense over who will be the CM in Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh. The suspense over CM face in Madhya Pradesh is still on as the top leaders have not spoken on the issue. CM Shivraj Singh Chauhan has cleared that he was never a contender. Prahlad Singh Patel, Narendra Singh Tomar, Kailash Vijayvargiya and Jyotiraditya Scindia can emerge as the face of the top job in the state. In the aftermath of securing a majority in Rajasthan, the Bharatiya Janata Party finds itself grappling with uncertainty over the chief ministerial position. On Monday, over 30 MLAs convened with former Chief Minister Vasundhara Raje in Jaipur, and it is being considered as a show of strength on the part of those who support Vasundhara Raje. In Chhattisgarh, the potential chief ministerial candidates of the BJP has asked the central leadership to decide on the matter. Sources suggest that during a party meeting, Kamal Nath proposed his resignation as the state president. The High Command accepted the offer, asking him to manage responsibilities until a new president is appointed. Insights from those close to the High Command indicate that Madhya Pradesh will soon witness the appointment of a new Congress state president. Speculations arise as Congress leadership expresses dissatisfaction with Nath's remarks against leaders of the INDIA bloc, including against Akhilesh Yadav and Nitish Kumar regarding seat sharing. Despite the setback in recent assembly polls, Kamal Nath advises party workers not to be disheartened, but to gear and focus for preparations for the upcoming Lok Sabha elections just a few months away. Congress General Secretary KC Venugopal announced 54-year-old Revanth Reddy's name as the Telangana CM in Delhi after a series of parleys that were held on the sidelines to ensure that his leadership and candidacy was put into focus. Now, it is being said that the central leadership was trying it difficult when it came to know that there are several claimants to that top post. Telangana Congress President Revanth Reddy, who steered the party to victory in the just concluded assembly elections, has been named the new Chief Minister of India's younger state. He would be sworn in as the second Chief Minister of Telangana, which was carved out of Andhra Pradesh in 2004 on December 7th in Hyderabad. A 5-judge constitution bench led by Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud is currently hearing petitions challenging the constitutional validity of Section 6A of the Citizenship Act of 1955. This provision, rooted in 1985 Assam Accord, which aimed to protect Assamese culture and identity. Now, senior advocate Shyam Devan argued that Section 6A undervalues constitutional principles, urging uniform application across all states bordering Bangladesh. CJI Chandrachud emphasizes the historical context, citing that enactment post the 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War, and Solicitor General Tushar Mehta reveals that around 5.45 lakh people benefited from that provision, which ceased in 2013. Now, the court seeks an official response on the number of foreigners declared pre-2013. The provision sets a cutoff date of March 24, 1971 for entry into the state. A 2012 petition challenges Section 6A for differentiating cutoff dates for Assam. The case, referred to Constitution Bench in 2015, raises questions on political cultural rights and the influx of illegal migrants. The proceedings in both houses of the Parliament will resume today at 11 a.m. on the third day of the ongoing winter session. Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are likely to be rocked by remarks of DMK MP DNV Senthil Kumar, who on Tuesday sparked controversy by describing the Hindi heartland with derogatory terms. Participating in a discussion on the J&K reorganization bill in the House, Kumar said that BJP can win elections only in the Hindi heartland states and not in South India. His description of the Hindi heartland in a derogatory manner was expunged by the Lok Sabha Speaker, but the remarks triggered a row with several members across party lines condemning the DMK leader. President Vladimir Putin will visit Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates as Moscow courts allies abroad despite being isolated over the Ukraine conflict. Putin has limited his international travel since deploying troops to Ukraine, and the International Criminal Court has issued an international arrest warrant for Putin on the war crime accusation of unlawfully deporting Ukrainian children. Now, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov told the reporters that President Putin will go on visiting UAE and Saudi Arabia with a working agenda. Nobel Peace Prize winner Malala Yousafzai on Tuesday likened restrictions the Taliban has placed on women in Afghanistan to the treatment of black people under apartheid in a lecture in South Africa organized by Nelson Mandela's Foundation. Listen in.
With Mandela's legacy in mind, I asked myself, what injustice is the world overlooking? Where are we allowing inhumanity to become the status quo? The answer for me was very clear and very personal. The oppression of girls and women in Afghanistan. My family and I know what it feels like to live under the Taliban ideology. At 11, I was banned from school. At 15, I was shot and nearly killed for standing up for my right to receive an education.
And I cannot fathom the injustice that the women in Afghanistan are facing. They're going through a gender apartheid where they do not have the opportunity and the right to work, to education. Girls cannot go to a secondary school. A woman cannot do a job. She cannot earn for herself. She has to ask for permission to go out of her house, even if she wants to see a doctor or get groceries. This fundamental right of choice and autonomy is taken away from them.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Prince Harry's lawyer argues in London High Court that the UK government's 2020 decision to strip his police protection is unlawful and unfair. Despite covering the cost, the Home Office ended state-funded security upon his move to California. Harry claims unjust treatment and a deviation from the RAVEC's policy without explanation. The government asserts that the change is due to non-working royal status. The court, mostly held privately, centers on Harry's right to state security amid perceived threats. Last year, he unsuccessfully challenged the government's refusal to let him pay for his own protection, citing concerns of favoring wealthy individuals. President Biden's pressing efforts to restock Ukraine's resources and provide aid to Israel face imminent collapse in the Senate. Republicans are poised to block the funding on Wednesday unless Democrats concede to incorporating stringent measures aimed at curbing migration along the U.S.-Mexico border. A classified briefing convened by the administration officials to garner support spiraled into partisan confrontation on Tuesday afternoon. Republicans vehemently accused Democrats of disregarding their border control demands, leading to a heated exchange. In preparation for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, the Paris Police Bomb Disposal Team is collaborating with event organizers to determine the appropriate level of bomb clearing measures during next year's Olympics and Paralympics in French capital. This was confirmed by the director of Central Police Laboratory on Monday. On the same day, the bomb disposal squad responded to an abandoned piece of luggage at the Montparnasse train station, which they subsequently detonated. Later, another detonated bag was reported in a park, eventually identified as belonging to a school pupil. The frequency of bomb alerts has increased, with incidents reported at tourist attractions such as the Louvre Museum and Versailles Palace in weeks following the October 7 Hamas attack in Israel. China's foreign ministry stated that its visa-free travel policy, which came in effect since December 1st and has shown positive results, simplifying travel for visitors from France, Germany, Italy and Netherlands, Spain and Malaysia. Approximately 7,000 of 18,000 travelers from these countries entered China in the first 3 days of December. Here's a report.
China says travellers have returned to the country in greater numbers this month. A brand new policy has helped. Visitors from a select group of countries were allowed to enter the country visa-free from December 1st. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin.
To facilitate cross-border travel and China's high-quality development and opening up, China started to extend visa-free policy to 6 European countries, including France and Germany, on December 1st. This policy has produced positive effects.
He further said about 18,000 travellers from the selected countries entered China in the first 3 days of the month. He said about 7,000 used the visa waiver. Those countries include France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Spain and Malaysia. China said daily average tourist numbers from those states have risen by 39% on the first 3 days of December compared to the last day of November. Germany hopes the visa-free travel won't stop there. The country's ambassador to China expressed hope it would extend the measures to all European Union members.
6 colonial-era artifacts returned to Sri Lanka by the Netherlands were showcased at Colombo National Museum on Tuesday, following a legal agreement signed in August by the two countries for the South Asian nation to regain ownership of the looted objects. The colonial artifacts included the bejeweled cannon of Kandy, making it of bronze, silver and gold, seized in 1765 by the soldiers of the Dutch East Company and displayed in the Prince of Orange's cabinet of Rarities, and later the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam. Residents on a Japanese island close to Taiwan are worried they would be unable to cope with an influx of refugees if conflict between Taiwan and China broke out. Yonaguni Island's officials state this plea for help to Tokyo government went unheard.
This disaster drill is meant to prepare for crisis on Japan's westernmost frontier, be it a natural disaster or, as island mayor Kenichi Itakatsu increasingly worries, a humanitarian one. Yonaguni Island recently ran this exercise with Japan's self-defense forces, bracing both for tsunami and the event of the island's close neighbor, Taiwan, coming under attack from China.
I'm worried about what could happen. It's a situation that we cannot predict.
Yonaguni is only about 60 miles east of Taiwan, a self-ruled island of 24 million people. China claims it as its own territory and has ratcheted up simulated missile strikes and other military displays. Yonaguni residents say they worry about a possible refugee crisis if conflict broke out nearby. Japan has earmarked $290 billion for defense this year, the biggest build-up since the Second World War. But more than 24 current and former Japanese officials and island residents said there was no plan from Tokyo for Yonaguni, where they imagine hundreds if not thousands of refugees could try to flee.
What if they come here? What if they come here? I asked the government. There was no answer. Everyone was silent. It's like their mouths were taped shut.
Yonaguni has around 1,700 residents. Koji Sugama, the official in charge of preparing the island for disasters, thinks right now there wouldn't be enough emergency supplies if the worst comes to pass. This container is one of 3 on the whole island. Sugama says each one can support around 800 people.
These are cookies made from rice. Then there's curry pilaf, tomato risotto, corn pilaf, mixed rice. This will do for 1, maybe 2 days.
Yonaguni relies on bi-weekly ferry and a handful of daily flights from nearby islands for supplies, but these can often be cancelled due to bad weather. So far, the Japanese government's response to rising tension in the Asia-Pacific has focused on military spending, which Prime Minister Fumio Kishida plans to double in the next 5 years.
If something happens, I really have no idea how the Prime Minister at the time will act, what decisions they will take, or even be able to take.
The situation on Mount Marapi is indeed challenging, with adverse weather conditions and volcanic activity hampering the search and rescue efforts for the 10 missing climbers. The eruption on December 3rd resulted in casualties, and the subsequent ash clouds and heavy rain have added complications to the search operation. The 2,891-meter high Mount Marapi, located in West Sumatra, is an active volcano, and its recent eruption has led to the loss of lives and the need for intermediate rescue operations. The volatile conditions, including ash clouds rising at as high as 3 kilometers and heavy rainfall, have made it difficult for search and rescue teams to locate the missing climbers and recover the bodies of the deceased. Indonesia, being part of the Ring of Fire, is prone to volcanic activity due to its location at that particular location, where several tectonic plates meet. The World Meteorological Organization reported that the decade spanning 2011 to 2020 marked the warmest period over the recorded part of history, despite increased economic losses due to extreme weather and climate events during this time. It surprisingly saw the lowest number of deaths from such occurrences. According to Decadal State of the Climate 2011 to 2020, report which was released by the WMO, the rate of climate change escalated significantly, resulting in record high temperatures. This report offers a longer-term perspective and complements the WMO's annual State of Global Climate reports. During COP28, the WMO also released a provisional annual report for 2023, indicating that 2023 is poised to become the warmest year in record. Let's hear what some of the experts had to say.
In terms of the global temperature, this decade is the warmest ever. It's 1.1 degrees Celsius average 10-year period. And it's every previous decade was also warmer than the preceding ones. And the amount of the natural disasters and weather and climate extremes, which we also monitor as a part of this state of climate, is again raises lots of concerns for us.
Biting Arctic conditions gripped vast areas of Russia on Tuesday, plunging Siberia into bone-chilling temperatures of minus 58 degrees Celsius, which is minus 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Yakutsk, one of the world's coldest cities, which lies some 5,000 kilometers east of Moscow, was covered in freezing clouds and fog. Drone footage showed Siberia experiencing as low as 56 degrees Celsius, while Moscow was engulfed by unprecedented snowfall, causing flight disruptions amid blizzard conditions. The frigid temperatures dropped to minus 50 degrees Celsius have become less frequent due to climate change, evidenced by the thawing of permafrost in recent years. Well, that's all in this edition of The Bulletin. Stay tuned to News 9 for further updates.
ChatGPT. It can generate codes and human-like